Hi, I'm Debbie Moraes, and this is Legal Matters, the program designed to address the critical, sometimes controversial issues facing consumers and businesses today. It's practical solutions, legal information, straight talk about a wide variety of topics. We've addressed family law and finance, Social Security, and most recently, technology. Today we're going to hit another timely topic, health care and privacy laws. But as always, we invite your questions, and since we were talking about technology fairly recently, the questions that have come in that we're going to have our lawyers address is about cell phone use. So we welcome again Jackie Grasso and David Bizar from Adet Bizar Cordero Grasso Law Firm in East Providence. Thank you. So we were talking about technology, and cell phones are used by just about everyone. Where is this going? We hear that there is controversy about when and where you can use cell phones. What are your thoughts?
We talked a little bit about that last time, I think. The issue is cell phones while you're driving. Clearly, Rhode Island has now passed a law that says you can't text while driving. We haven't gotten to the point where they say you can't be speaking on a cell phone while driving, although it's my understanding if you're a minor, you can't even use a cell phone to talk on while you're driving. I think where it's going, though, with technology and this whole business of talking on a phone while you're driving is to the technology that cars now have in them with voice dialing. I think at some point you may see legislature start requiring that drivers only talk on a phone if they can use the voice dial and the Bluetooth type of technology so that their focus isn't taken away from the road as much as it would be by dialing a phone while you're driving.
Of course, there are liability issues, too. I mean, beyond what the law says, you have liability issues because the increased number of accidents caused by people using cell phones and diverting their attention off the road. I mean, years ago, it used to be the radio that was the issue, or the 8-track tape, and now it's a cell phone. So
they didn't outlaw the use of a radio or 8-track tape or cassette tape or DVD, well, maybe a DVD while you're driving. But what certainly is the case, if we're a personal injury lawyer and a client gets hit by somebody, one of the things we would subpoena these days are phone records to see if they're talking on the phone while they're driving. Even if it's not illegal, it's certainly negligent.
Mm-hmm. And if you say you could subpoena phone records, would that mean just who they called or actually be able to know what they were saying? Because potentially someone could have, even with Bluetooth hands-free, you might have a very controversial conversation going that was upsetting and very likely to distract someone. Would that be part of what would be included in your documents?
You're not going to get, I don't think technology is to the point right now where every phone call is recorded that you could say to Verizon or AT&T, send us the phone call. All we're going to get is a printout of the records which would show here's the time of the accident and here's the usage of the phone to show they were using it.
Interesting. So going forward, as we are thinking about the technology and its progress, we thought that it would be a good idea to address health care at the same time. And for those who are looking at health care reform, Obama recently has been making headlines with health care reform, but also the stimulus package that strengthens some data privacy laws, and I think that's where we're going today. Apparently, it's raising hackles of health care. I think it said $19 billion kick from the Obama administration means that more and more electronic health records are certainly going to be on the way, and with that comes the prospect of someone even having spillage or theft of medical data. What do you think about that?
I think practically speaking, you'd have to be worried about someone hacking into your computer system or database, which I think has already happened. I recall reading something about that recently. Someone hacking into a database could be similar to someone in an office taking your medical record and copying it. So the threat of the lack of privacy is there the same way it was prior to the technology age, except now with the hacking into a database, I think they have access to much more, and it can be dispersed much larger than it normally would.
And it goes back to a number of other laws. When we talked about medicine and the law, there's so many different impacts of medicine and the law as they intersect. Some of what Jackie was just talking about is covered in Rhode Island under the Rhode Island Confidentiality of Medicine Act and the federal HIPAA laws. And those are all designed with the notion that people's medical records are confidential and that it's an infringement of their privacy to hack into those or get the records that are personal to them. And there have been many cases, we've actually handled some in Rhode Island, where there have been infringements of those, and the courts are very strict in enforcing people's rights under those acts.
Well, while I started with sort of an eye-opening question about the problems that having electronic data are going to cause, maybe we should back up and just go through, help us understand the law that's regarding privacy of patients in HIPAA. We understand that it's meant to do good for the patient, but there's all these pitfalls, so maybe you can walk us through some of that.
Right.
What does it encompass?
Do you want to start with HIPAA a little bit, or?
HIPAA is just the right to preserve one's privacy to their medical records. I can say that Rhode Island has probably one of the most strictest laws in the country as far as preserving medical records confidentiality and the penalties that result as a part of violating that.
Mm-hmm. And in talking about that Rhode Island law, as I mentioned, we've had some cases that have come in where people have had their records hacked into, looked at, or given away without their permission. And when we brought suit on those, looking at the different laws, the HIPAA Act, that's the federal law, and the Rhode Island law, we brought it under the Rhode Island Act as a violation of that. And through the HIPAA, and actually as an aside, in this particular case, we had a woman who was going through a divorce, and the husband went to a pharmacy, knew the local pharmacist, and says, I want my wife's records for all of the medications that she's been on. And lo and behold, there were certain medications in there that affected how he looked at the divorce and what he was entitled to get from her, making some allegations of fidelity and so forth. And it really threw a whole wrench into their amicable divorce becoming very contentious. And as a result, she ended up with much more legal fees, emotional distress, and all that goes with that, and we sued the pharmacy and were able to get a recovery for her for the violation of her Medical Confidentiality Act.
How does that pertain to the fact that their husband and wife usually do share information? Why shouldn't the husband have access to what's going on with his wife? Is that part of HIPAA?
You still need written consent.
Right.
You still need written consent regardless.
We could represent somebody who was injured. We're their lawyers. We can't write to a doctor or a pharmacy or a hospital,
yes.
exactly, and say, give us the records.
Yeah.
It's the person's records. There was a time, maybe, many, many years before me, where the sanctity of marriage involved certain other rules and laws where people were considered one unit. In fact, maybe the husband controlled everything. Those days are long gone. Everybody today is an individual, whether you're married or not. So the rights you have as an individual pertain to you and you alone.
I understand that it's supposed to cover access and control, which meant that in some cases, perhaps someone would want to have their doctor phone the office, not their home, and given that kind of instruction, that would, I guess, clarify clearly what you're saying.
Well, it also creates other issues, too, which are sometimes like the overextension of this confidentiality. What about a mom or a dad of a 19-year-old child who they're still caring for? Does the doctor share information with the mom or dad or not? And should they? I mean, those are issues that I think there are two sides that could be argued.
And is there a law on that? Is it over 16, under 21? Are there law differences between Rhode Island and Massachusetts?
I would think 18, once you're an adult. I mean, without written consent from the individual, you're not allowed to disclose.
Right. That would be my understanding,
Same
too.
thing with educational records. Once someone's 18 and you want to access your child's college records, they're not going to release them without a consent or release from the student.
Right.
And for our parents who might